What's up, Renegade Nation? Before we begin the video, I'd like to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters: Grim X Law 22, Dracoda 185, Joseku, Philip Caudill, Salosi, Mighty Snake, Brian Imka Njoku, John Doe, Terry, Serena Avalar, and Astro CP. Thank you very much for your support, and if you want to support us on Patreon, feel free to check the link out below in the description to find out more. Thanks again. Three is usually the magic number. When it came to this film, this is when I actually started to have doubts about the Final Destination franchise.
They lost me after this one.
Yeah, and...
For one thing, I can't remember a single kill in this movie.
You can't?
I can't even remember what the premonition is in this one. That's
roller coaster?
This was the roller coaster?
Yeah.
I thought the roller coaster was 4.
No, roller coaster was 3.
Okay, maybe I never watched 3 then. Okay, never mind.
What?
Apparently I never watched 3.
This is news to me. Jesus.
Yeah, news to me too. So I haven't watched 3, 4, or 5.
Well, you're not missing much with this one. It's pretty much it's...
I think actually I saw that the roller coaster was the premonition, because I was thinking that was 4. And then I was like, yeah, fuck that. I was like, that's just getting a little ridiculous at this point.
As if a plane or a... Well, actually... Yeah, actually, you're more likely to die on a plane and die in a traffic accident way more often than that.
Way more likely.
Than
that's
on a
why,
roller coaster.
like, I have no fear of riding roller coasters. But,
I don't
like,
either.
I have a huge fear of riding in a plane.
Well, you're way more likely to die driving a car.
Well, like, I know you are, but I still feel like once you get on a plane, your life is out of your control at that point. If the pilot fucks up, if someone with maintenance fucked up, if something just randomly, act of God, fucks up on the plane, whereas, like, if I accidentally T-bone a guy at an intersection, there's a chance we might both live through it. On the plane, you're way more likely to not live through the crash. So it's like the plane, while it is less likely to crash, you're way less likely to live through a plane crash than you are through a car crash. Does that make sense? So there's a lot more non-fatal car accidents than there are non-fatal plane crashes.
The frequency of which car accidents happen.
Yeah, but there's a lot more non-fatal car crashes than there are non-fatal plane crashes.
You're right about that, but
so it's like, yeah, you're not that likely to crash, but if you are, you're fucked. And that's why planes freak me out.
Well, it's the numbers of deaths, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but still,
dude, you could die from.
Well, it's like I told people today, like people were talking about sharks. Like I was just being kind of a troll, and like someone posted a thing with a shark, and I deleted it. And they were like, "Why did it get deleted?" And I was like, "It's fuck sharks." And they were like, "You're much more likely to get what was it? What was the first thing they said? I can't remember what it was. Oh, more people die from coconuts than they do from sharks." And I was like, yeah, but coconuts don't rip your arms off or decapitate you or like fucking disembowel you. Like, yeah, like you're much more likely to die from bees than sharks, but bees also don't fucking rip your arms off and like maim you and shit. And I was like, yeah, you're much more likely to get struck by lightning probably than eaten by a shark. Yeah, but lightning doesn't fucking eviscerate you. I was like, fuck sharks.
No, and I understand that.
It's like you're much more likely to die in a car crash, but
way more likely. And
like you're not gonna fall.
1 in 3,000.
You're not gonna fall out of the fucking sky if you do. Like,
no, instead you'll be pinned or you'll probably your head will pretty much have a free crevasse put into it because of the steering wheel or something like that. Or, dude, there's hundreds of thousands of ways to die. Yeah. But here's the thing.
Hence the series 100 Ways to Die.
Yeah. There's actually 1,000 ways to die.
1,000 Ways to Die, yeah.
But,
there you go.
But the one thing for me that always got me about, plane travel versus car travel. I've flown on planes, not a lot, but the times I've flown on planes, my first time flying, I was scared shitless. But then after flying a few more times, it was just normal for me.
Well, like I said, if they would just make it so that all the plane seats had a parachute on them, and just, in the event of a catastrophic failure of some sort and the plane is now losing altitude, they would just drop everyone's seat out the fucking floor and have the parachute go off. I would probably ride in a plane without being scared. Because I would be like, worst case scenario, I get dropped out. Unless I'm flying over the ocean, and in which case I would probably be like, it also better have like a raft built into the bottom of it at the very least. Like,
which to be honest,
I almost would rather die in the crash than just be dropped into the ocean and have to be eaten by a shark.
Truth be told, dude. Elon Musk is working on something like that, and hopefully,
I just think it's absurd that they haven't already implemented something like that,
dude. You got to think.
They're basically like, yeah, if the plane crashes, good fucking luck. You're dead, basically.
Well, for them, it's a numbers game. And to them, the numbers game of people dying in plane crashes versus the cost it would take to make their planes like that weren't worth it.
Yeah.
And plus, since aeronauticals are only getting more safer, the fact that if they actually make new planes with the right kind of material and everything, and not Malaysian Airlines. I mean, 2 failures within 5 years, y'all got a problem. But yeah, anyway, this conversation has been brought to you by the Renegades, and this video that we'll be reacting to
is not sponsored by No Scope, but it could be. No Scope, get at me. That's why I'm wearing these odd-looking glasses, as I have eye strain really badly, and they're supposed to keep you from getting eye strain. And my left eye's been twitching all day, but since I've been wearing these, it hasn't bothered me. So They work.
They do work. So there you go. Anyway, this is the Final Destination 3 kill count brought to you by Dead Meat. Let's see what happens. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Final Destination 3, released in 2006. You all know the ding-dang deal by now with these movies, and there aren't too many surprises in this prequel, which is fundamentally the same as the first 2 films. Thanks to a detailed premonition, a small group of people are able to avoid a tragic catastrophe, only to be hunted down by death in a certain order, falling victim to its mousetrap murders in increasingly graphic ways. Part 3 sees director James Wong and producer Glenn Morgan return to the series after their absence in Part 2. Once again, they co-wrote the screenplay together and decided to make this third film more of a standalone feature as opposed to Part 2, which was a direct sequel to the original. It still takes place in the same world as the first 2 and acknowledges the events that happened in them, but Part 3 doesn't have any of the same characters return. Sadly, not even William Bloodworth, and instead, Tony Todd's involvement this time through is relegated to a couple of voice acting roles. James Wong wasn't a fan of how the second movie's characters had nothing in common between them other than the disaster they avoided. So Part 3 sees a return to teenage classmates who are just graduating high school and mistakenly believe they have their whole lives ahead of them. The clairvoyant protagonist among them is Wendy Christensen, played by frequent horror actress Mary Elizabeth Winstead in her first starring role. Winstead was previously
also
on
have kind of a
for
crush
the
on her.
eyeball-infatuated Black Christmas remake and the anti-fluoride prequel to The Thing, The Thing. Here, her character serves the same purpose that Alex Browning and Kimberly Corman had before her. Only in this movie, she has a trail of digital pictures to give her clues about Death's designs. As far as the franchise's signature kills go, by Final Destination 3, we've reached full-on gorehound mode. Producer Craig Perry, the only top-line talent involved in every single film of the series, was the blood and guts cheerleader responsible for the ever-increasing viscera on display. Unfortunately, even though the special effects team put together a lot of cool practical effects, it looks like most of them were covered up with CG blood. Doesn't make them any less memorable though. Oh, and hey, before we get started, I know the DVD for this movie had some kind of interactive choose their fate thing, but I don't talk about those scenes in this video because they're not canon. They're just part of a fun DVD extra. Which means no, I won't be kill counting Kimberly and Burke from Part 2, who, in one of these things, were revealed to have died in a wood chipper accident. Yeah, Craig Perry said that scene can be canon, but to me, it's not. So please don't leave comments saying I forgot to mention those scenes. Please don't leave those comments. How many people in this movie unknowingly queued up for death?
Give
Let's
the
find
internet
out and
too
get
much
to the kills.
credit, James.
Yeah.
The movie
You can bag all
begins
you
at an
want, they're still
amusement
gonna do
park,
it.
where the future looks to include a title card. Do you believe in fortunes? Or do you only believe in more tangible things, like the cold hard steel of this ball that looks like it should be chasing Lara Croft around? That dumb looking ball transitions into an awesome power tower type ride that a group of friends are having a blast on. All except for Wendy Christensen, that is, who would rather just take pictures of all that fun for the school yearbook. I get it, Wendy, you're just proud of your high school. And why not? The swim team did have the best high dye after all. Wendy is here for McKinley High School's graduation celebration, with a friend group that consists of the usual crowd for these movies. Generically attractive and paper thin, sometimes veering into full-blown creeper territory. Kevin the Creepshotter there is played by DCOM darling Ryan Merriman, previously on the count as that totally worthless side plot character who spent all of Halloween Resurrection watching a damn live stream. Although Kevin's a sleazebagano, I will admit he's got some major ups, man. Bet he learned that shit in jig class for Luck of the Irish. Kevin is dating Wendy's friend Carrie, played by Gina Holden, who was both the pregnant waitress who got belly bursted in AVP Requiem, and the completely innocent wife character who was burned alive inside a brazen bull in Saw 3D. Fuck, I hate that movie. Carrie is planning to dump Kevin's ass after graduation, since the dude can't even go 2 minutes without gawking at other ladies like these whale-tailing early-aught hotties, Ashley and Ashlyn. Ashley is played by Shaylin Simmons, who was 7 or 8 years old when she was in the It miniseries.
What? That was her?
Apparently.
Oh, my mind just got fucking blown, dude. Oh, that hurts. Oh, wow. 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 Wow.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It is to me.
Fair enough.
I never put it together. I never would have figured that she would have.
Well, how could you?
I don't. As much as I prided myself knowing movies back in the day, man, I don't know. It never dawned on me. Never, literally never dawned on me that was a thing. I just had my mind blown a little bit. And hey, I know people are going to reference this. We stopped the video on exactly 4:20. Just please.
As Lori Ann, the little girl whose death was the inciting incident for the rest of that movie. And Ash Lynn is played by Crystal Lowe, who was also in the Black Christmas remake alongside Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Eyeballs! While taking more yearbook pictures, Wendy runs into her stoner-looking little sister, Julie, played by a 20-year-old Amanda Crew, who would go on to star in Silicon Valley. We also meet a few other characters, like athlete Luis Romero, who's a real strong boy, and high school graduate Frankie Cheeks, whose creep star outshines even Kevin somehow. But my favorite character is the devil mascot of the Park Central roller coaster, a big old mammoth of a ride called Devil's Flight.
You can run, but you cannot hide.
It takes a real cool devil to be voiced by Tony Todd, man.
You may never return from Devil's Flight.
That giant devil is actually a practical mofo made out of 2 tons of styrofoam, and it took them 6 weeks to build him. And according to production designer Mark Freeborn,
it's anatomically correct.
Whoa!
I didn't need to see that.
I didn't even see that at all.
Not only for the devil dude, but also the gothic-looking queue for Devil's Flight, which they had to build from scratch. As someone who can appreciate a good ride queue, whether it's Haunted Mansion or Mission Breakout, he did a damn good job making one that looks and feels real. Wendy is scared of Devil's
didn't know they
Flight,
did
and
that.
it's not because she's a devout Catholic or anything. She's just got a bad feeling, like deja vu of the future, and also, as you'll hear many times in this movie, she's a control freak.
You know, I'm such a control freak, like, I couldn't handle that.
They say the real fear with these rides comes from the feeling of having no control.
Her boyfriend Jason there, a real nothing boy, convinces her to give the ride a chance. But due to some nonsense that only makes sense if you're reverse engineering a screenplay, the couples end up swapping partners before they take their seats on the ride, which means Wendy and Kevin are together in the back, while Jason and Carrie get seats up front. The other characters are strewn about in the back cart, with Frankie Cheeks pulling out his camera to remind us of how gross he is. is.
Flash me them sweet, sweet titties when we go through the loop.
Yep, pretty gross. Even grosser than old sticky gum on a ride. Yeah,
Bruh.
the cart takes off, but there's already some fluid leaking, so, that's not good. It crests the first hill, giving the riders one nice last view of the park, and after it reaches the top and the chain lets go, we're off on a magical murder ride. During the ride's first loop, Frankie's Joe Francis camera falls and triggers a mechanical breakdown on the cart that unlocks the seats and takes off some wheels. The front cart falls off and kills its passengers in a crash, while the people in the back cart hang on long enough to get deaths like a broken back due to scaffolding, or just straight falling out the cart while the thing defies statistical physics and hangs out upside down in another loop. The roller coaster disaster was filmed at two separate times, one at the beginning of production and the other at the very end. Principal photography for the film began at Playland, an actual amusement park in Vancouver, and their corkscrew roller coaster was used as a stand-in for Devil's Flight, although they did use computers to turn the 75-foot-high real-life coaster into the fictional 200-foot-high coaster for the movie. Using a previs program, they were able to plan all the shots they wanted to get. Then, after measuring their clearance on the coaster using a bunch of foam arms, they attached cameras with remote controls onto the coaster carts, allowing them to get dynamic and interesting shots of the characters instead of boring static shots nailed down right in front of them. And although riding a roller coaster a bunch of times may sound like a fun job to have, it quickly got old for the cast, who, over the course of 3 days, had to ride that damn thing a collective 60 times.
Whoa!
I'd have fun with it, probably.
The second part of filming this set piece, which came at the end of production, wasn't that much easier for the cast either. Although this chunk of shooting took place inside a studio, using hydraulic coaster carts in front of a green screen, the stunt performers still got whipped all the fuck around, and the actors themselves would have to spend long periods of time hanging upside down in practical rigs.
Wow, this really sucks balls.
Although I personally think the roller coaster disaster pales in comparison to some of the others in this series, you've got to give James Wong and the rest of the crew credit for shooting it in an innovative and exciting way. This was not an easy thing to do, and everyone deserves credit for coming together and making it happen. Wendy and Kevin managed to rock the cart back down the loop, but then Kevin gets cut in half on a wayward bike, and Wendy is knocked out of the cart and onto the track that's, whoa, inside her eyeball. Secret People theme park, nice! One last fun fact for this sequence, the shot of Wendy falling was literally the last shot Mary Elizabeth Winstead had to do during principal photography. I think it looks like a lot of fun though. It's like one of those indoor skydiving tubes. Thankfully, the movie doesn't waste time here, and after one look at that ride gum, Wendy's sounding the alarm. She forces her way off the ride and gets everyone in the back car
Pause a second. There is no theme park in the world that when someone gets on the ride and starts to freak out, actually lets people back off the ride. That's just not something they do.
Actually, I have encountered one. It was a person. It actually happened a couple rides in front of me. The woman had a panic attack, and actually passed out in her seat. And they had to
if you have like a medical emergency, is like the only way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like when someone's like, I changed my mind, let me off. They're just like, have fun. Like, and just
most of them don't give a shit.
Yeah,
most of them do not care. That is the truth. But yeah, in very rare occasions they do, and I actually remember that happening. And seeing me standing there, me and my dad were in line for the front of the line, and they actually had to take her out the employee entrance, which ran right by us. And I saw her on the gurney, like shaking and just not being able to not being able to stop shaking. It just kind of shocked me a little bit when I was younger, because I think 10 or 11 at the time. I was tall enough to ride the ride at least, but still, that scared the shit out of me.
Also, usually, like when one person freaks out and like wants off, like everybody else wouldn't get off the ride with them.
This is true. This is actually true.
That's very unbelievable that like she would have actually convinced the rest of them to get off the roller coaster. They would all just be like, she's just being a wuss.
The main thing here is that a fight broke out between these two, the two guys on the ground, and everyone else, just not wanting to be here for this. The ones whose seats were open took the opportunity to get off, which logically does not make 100% sense. But anyway, yeah.
giving us more taste of asshole when it comes to these characters.
Can you please control that bitch? Damn, it's gonna crash. The hydraulics, the coaster. Man, she's just trying to get some fucking attention.
Man, characters have never been the strong point of this series, but by this movie, I actively hate them, which makes for a grueling viewing experience. It doesn't help that Lewis goes all Edward Furlong on Kevin here.
Fuck you. Fucking watch.
Oh god, that blows. I will give credit to actor Texas Battle though. Not only does he have an even cooler name than Ryder King Strong, dude also runs a foundation that assists underprivileged kids in South Africa. Good on him, man. A fight breaks out and causes the ride operator to make some legally questionable decisions.
Nobody else gets off this ride!
So even though Jason pleads to be let off, he loses out to the other riders and their blitzkrieg bopping.
Hey, dude, ho, let's go! Hey, ho, let's go!
And thus, he's stuck on the doomed roller coaster, which has gotta be real rough for Wendy to watch, since she knows what's coming. As to be expected, the accident she envisioned does indeed take place. And lucky for me, this one...
In terms of everything... Okay, I came across this when I first watched this film. Everything that happened that made the accident that happened with the accident didn't happen when everyone got off.
Yeah,
because
the camera and shit.
Well, yeah, the camera being dropped was what started what started it was the operator pushing the Texas Battle's like harness down and actually like springing the hydraulic fluid loose, which I'm not sure like logical timeline when that happened, but anyway, what happened with the camera falling, that's what started the fire that caused the hydraulic line to explode and caused the wheels to come off. And logically that wouldn't have happened. You see, every other accident that has happened in the Final Destination franchise, from this one to the second one, the fourth one, even the fifth one, all happened because the situation was not determined by the actions of the individuals on the thing.
Yeah.
It was completely out of their hands. Because what started the Final Destination 1, the plane was going to explode no matter what because of faulty engine. Number 2, in Final Destination 2,
the chain on the truck was going to break,
came loose and still took out a bunch of people and caused the entire ordeal. And then the fourth one, the racetrack situation. That whole situation was caused by I think it was a damn it, I forget if it was a driver error or what. But the fifth one has a bridge collapse. That spoils suspense for Nick here. He probably saw a preview of it or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But
he also talked about it in the first one when he was talking about the series as a whole as well.
Yeah, this is the only one that has direct character interaction that causes the accident. And with it, with douchebag not being on there with his camera to drop it and start the fire, the accident never happens. Now you can make the argument that maybe
they kind of goofed on that plot hole there.
Yeah, I noticed it when I first watched it, but I didn't come to this movie for plot lines or characters. I came to see some glorious, gory kills, in which this film's got them. So let's get to them.
Was real easy to count. Besides Jason and Carrie, there were 5 randos on the ride, giving us 7 kills to start off with. Shit, I can even do a proper gender breakdown in this one. Neat. The last day at McKinley High is mostly a bummer, thanks to the accident and that old windy son of a bitch, Death. Wendy seems to be the only one with survivor's guilt though, since the others appear to be doing just fine, including Ashlyn and Ashley, and this Hollywood goth couple, Aaron Ulmer and Ian McKinley.
Ian McKinley. How pathetic is it that my last name is the same as my high school?
Kevin talks to Wendy and tells her that she's not alone. See, he went online and did some learning about Flight 180 and the ultimate fate of its survivors.
They died in the order they would have if they stayed on a plane. Unless someone intervened, and it skipped them.
Thanks for the rules, Kevin. See you later. Well, big gulps are a thing that characters would probably not be drinking in a movie today. But here we have the ashes, slurping away at the tanning salon, which is also a place that most characters and real people probably wouldn't go today. And that's a great thing, because that's actually how I got this scar on my shoulder. As a high school senior, in 2006 actually, same year this movie came out, I stupidly went tanning for a couple of months. A weird mole popped up, I didn't get it looked at for a year, and when I finally did, the doctors said it might be melanoma, aka skin cancer. I had the mole removed, along with a whole bunch of extra skin and a lymph node, and after that, I was clear of any cancer. And now you know the story of my shoulder scar. Ashlyn and Ashley aren't worried about skin cancer, though. They just want to look they bronzes. So they get ready to hop inside these tanning beds while delivering dialogue that really makes me hate them.
I forgot my iPod. Sucks, bitch. Ew, Celine. Brittany? Are we like the only cool people that come here or what? Yeah.
They crank up the room's temperature in order to get comfy and give us this movie's heaping dose of gratuitous nudity as they nakedly sing along to the Ohio players, poorly. Destruction begins a-brewing. But honestly, if they had just listened to the rules, like not bringing their drinks inside the
I just noticed it.
And not fucking with the salon.
Look in the background. Look in the background now after the roller coaster accident.
No, the tanning goggles on the Jason mask.
No, the roller coaster's destroyed.
Oh, the roller coaster's destroyed. Okay.
That's awesome. Damn, I love James's attention to detail like that shit like that.
The rules, like
I didn't notice the tanning goggles. That's
bringing
cool too.
Their drinks inside the tanning room and not fucking with the salon's equipment, none of this would be happening right now. I feel like this one's on them, not Death. During all this, Wendy's sister Julie has been trying to make her feel better since she's a guilty mess.
I'm usually such a control freak, but I didn't do enough to stop it.
To comfort this control freak, Julie gives her a bracelet that's somehow, lucky, I guess. Wendy goes through the pictures she took at the theme park and discovers that they may be providing some clues. Ooh. The supposed clues these pictures offer are all too cryptic and ambiguous for me to get anything out of them, which is pretty much on par for this series that's all about making mountains out of molehills. In any case, the picture clues are much less clear than the focus on both of these sisters, as James Wong plays around with a split diopter shot. But since Wendy's better than me at looking for clues, she realizes that this picture of the ashes evokes fire, which makes sense, cause those babes about to burn. A powerful gust from the salon's air conditioner knocks some stuff onto the tanning beds and ends up locking the girls inside their glowy tubes. As things heat up, glass begins to crack and skin begins to boil. Ashley and Ashlyn are killed after their tanning beds both catch fire and they're cooked alive inside. This highly acclaimed and oft-mentioned kill was accomplished by having stunt performer Leslie McMichael do a burn stunt using a gel that allowed her to be aflame for up to 25 seconds. Holy crap, that is a long time to be on fire, man. And the kill is capped off with a hilarious match.
I love this edit.
The Ashes swing caskets at a funeral. This movie has some real fun directing by Wong, so it's a shame that the characters suck as much as they do.
Yes. Man, these games really suck, man.
What, these characters? I know, that's what I just said. Wendy and Kevin get to talking again, and after she repeats a conversation that the audience has already heard,
Your fear is from a sense of having no control.
she says that she's been feeling an evil presence around her ever since the accident.
It's cold and terrifying.
It's the wind.
Yeah, that's called wind, Wendy. That is literally
man
just
wind.
the
It's
wind.
literally
Back
in
it
your
up,
name.
folks. We figured it out. It's wind. By the time the wind dies down,
Old
Wendy's
Man Wind
become
from
a
Nostalgia
full-blown
Critics video.
conspiracy nut.
What are you talking about? You're saying I'm not the culprit? No, it's Death. Death! That son of a bitch has been stealing my thunder for 1,000 years. When will it be my time?
Yep, pretty much.
There will come a time, Wind. There will come a time, Old Man Wind. All right. I'll wait. Like I always do.
And holy shit, a 9/11 truther too?
See the shadow?
Oh.
Well, what do these pictures have to do with us?
Dude, I don't even know, but you need to get the fuck out of there if she starts talking about steel beams. Her crazy train continues as she shows him her photos of ambiguous clues, and the heaviness of the whole thing ends up taking her to the ground.
I'm feeling a little woozy.
Wait, I'm sorry, what did she say?
I'm feeling woozy, yeah.
That's what I thought she said! Since they've already figured out that death works in a specific order, they know that Frankie Cheeks should be the next one to die. In order to take a better look at his photo and look for more clues, Wendy tells Kevin to pull the car over.
Well, it's nice to see that things haven't made you any less of a control freak.
Stop! They pull into a drive-thru and take a look at the Cheeksy picture, but they don't see anything in it other than a stuffed SpongeBob prize that isn't actually in the picture.
SpongeBob lives underwater.
So sad that you know that.
What? No, it isn't. Everyone knows who lives in a pineapple under the sea. All of a sudden, Death starts messing with all the electronics around them, and they end up trapped in Kevin's car while the driverless van begins hurtling down a steep Vancouver street. Such a steep road necessary for this scene was a tough spot to find for locations manager Danny McWilliams. And once he did, they still had to deal with the fact that the script called for a drive-thru to be at the bottom. Since a fast food place didn't already exist there, they had to make it from scratch. And it just goes to show that with the right talented people in a crew, anything is possible. Wendy and Kevin are able to get out of their car at the very last minute, but the collision they avoid sends a truck engine straight into the back of Frankie Cheeks' head, killing him in a splattery mess because I guess he had been sitting in his car right in front of them the whole time. You could have set that up a little better, movie. This kill is another excellent one that they accomplished by combining clean shots of the vehicular destruction with shots of actor Sam Easton reacting. And of course, a blood-filled dummy head that they called a splooch head. It's a good thing they were able to get the shot at all though, since their first attempt resulted in the cameras themselves getting Final Destination.
The first thing that I think most of us felt was shock because it's so unusual that anything goes wrong on those things. They've been tested 6 ways to Sunday and hardly ever anything goes wrong.
Thankfully, no one ended up getting hurt, and the end result of their efforts is some excellent gore. Wendy and Kevin study their digital pictures some more and realize that there were 2 unknown people sitting in front of them on the coaster, before they then come across the illegal upskirt that Kevin took. Yeah, you feel that shame, DCOM. But in the picture, behind those cheeks, they see Frankie Cheeks, and it looks like he's got a fan behind his head. So, turns out, the picture thing really does work for clues. They had just been looking at the wrong picture. Knowing that the jock Lewis is next in line, they look at his picture, which shows a weight coming down on his head. But there's also a sortie boy over there, so who knows what's gonna kill him. Better get down to his new college's training center to try and warn him either way. Lewis doesn't buy into their worries though, and as the testosterone increases alongside the cutting speed, Lewis declares himself above mortality. That, of course, leads to his death, after some swords cut a cable and bring a couple of weights down to sandwich his head. Try to control that weight a little better on the next rep, dude. Don't let him slam like that. This kill is probably the best example of practical effects gone to waste. They had another splooge head, this time of actor Texas Battle, and crushed it for reals with some weights. But in the movie, it looks like it's completely covered up by CG blood. It's kinda sad. After another boring crime scene, it's on to the next people on the list. That couple Aaron and Ian, who both work together in a hardware store. Hey Aaron, did you know your boyfriend's got some seriously psychopathic tendencies? That dick just killed a bird. Why do all these meatbags suck so much? Like everyone else, Aaron and Ian shoot down.
Okay. I'm not gonna try and justify what that guy was doing with those pigeons. Pigeons are annoying, but you know you can shoo them off usually.
Yeah.
My dad shot down a buzzard.
He told me about that
because it was trying to get get at our cats, and my dad popped him while he was on top of the cabin. So yeah. Not trying to justify what this guy was doing, but yeah, it. God.
Found Wendy and Kevin with snark, and they also prove unable to help them identify the mystery couple who sat in front of them on the coaster. Ian surmises that even if their theory were true and Death did have an order plan,
the mystery
couldn't
couple,
the last person on the list
the
save
clue is
everyone
right there in
else
the
by
picture,
jumping
isn't
the
it?
line and killing?
Yes.
It's the bracelet.
Ding.
It's like you can fucking see your hand, like
Ding.
with the bracelet on. So you know who it is.
Oh, I know.
Oblivious teens.
It's gonna save 5 skipped lives.
Yeah, too bad we just saw that kind of thing not work in the previous movie. I get that these characters wouldn't know that, but you gotta give the audience something to keep them in suspense, you know? Instead, we predictably get another kill, and the setup for this one is an extra shade of rube that involves a whole bunch of shit, like a magnet stick, an off-the-chain chain, a grabby hook, a big old bukkake, a self-driving forklift, and some mighty blue. All that and a bunch of hammers, eventually couple of kills. But since when you want to read this picture?
Thank you for going with me on that. That was awesome.
And since she had a little help from some sawdust, thanks sawdust, she manages to save Ian from a bunch of wooden stakes. Erin, however, is not so lucky, and she ends up getting blown back into a nail gun that turns her into a Cenobite who went to scratch their face a little too hard. The behind the scenes on this one is simple. It's a dummy head, dummy. But that doesn't stop it from being one gnarly death, man. Wendy and Kevin realize that since she intervened to save Ian's life, Death will now be skipping him, according to Death's charter rules of Flight 180. That means the new targets are those mystery folks sitting in front of them on the card, but without knowing who they are, shit, they might already be dead.
Well, I'm next. And then you.
Wendy takes a little desk nap, during which her sister Julie sneaks in to steal back her good luck bracelet. Upon her awakening, why, Wendy happens to see that very same bracelet around the wrist of the mystery person in the picture. Egads, the mystery person's Amanda Crew. Before heading out to warn her sister, Wendy looks at more choose-your-own-clue photographs and settles on the name McKinley as the clue to her death. As for Kevin, his picture's got a flash in his eyes, kinda like, oh my god, like a firework went off in your face. Aw, jinx, you owe me a soda. Yeah, things about to get lit at the town of McKinley's Tricentennial Celebration Fair, where Kevin is working security. Seems dumb to me that he would still go to work at a time like this, but whatever. I'd go to work too if it meant seeing a Paul Revere reenactment. Hell yeah, history's dead.
Okay, answer me this. Is this taking place in like 2075 or 2076? Because they said they're celebrating their tricentennial. But yet they're having Paul Revere right there. Oh, God. As a history student, that makes me mad. I'm sorry. But...
Oh, Wendy also loves history, so she races to get to the fair, avoiding all the random wolves that cross her path. Step on it, Wendy. You don't want to miss the Ben Franklin guy do his kite thing.
Now, let us hope for some lightning.
Aw, shit. You missed it.
Fuck you, Ben Franklin.
Whoa, dude, it's not that guy's fault Wendy didn't get there in time. Wendy arrives right as the lights go down for the fireworks show, and as the pops get poppin', she and Kevin try desperately to track down an annoyed and evasive Julie. Wendy sees Julie flip the thumbs out double birds, and it reminds her of Julie's picture clue. But what could that horse mean? It's probably alluding to this poor tied up horse, who's getting harassed by a couple of shitbirds with firecrackers. It flees from them in terror, and eventually winds up dragging Julie around by a rope around her neck? What? That chick would be dead for show. Yeah. Props to Amanda Crew, too. To get this footage, they actually tied a rope around her neck, with a harness attached, of course, and dragged her across the ground. She even emphasized to them not to go easy, so it would look good in the shot. Pretty kick-ass of her. And she was in good hands with stunt coordinator JJ Maccaro, who helped direct this well-trained Liberty horse for the stunt. What a good boy. That horse drags Julie towards a harrowing death, but Kevin intervenes and cuts her free with a sword. Great, death averted. But there was another mystery person in the picture who was sitting next to Julie on the coaster. Now, which one of these two friends was it? Oh, I guess it was that one. Some random chick named Perry. How about we fly that thing at half-mast in her honor? Death moves further down its list onto Kevin and uses a weird-looking horse kick to knock him down so he can be killed by a Nope, never mind. Wendy just intervened and saved him. Wow, that's gotta be a record for the shortest time spent at the top of Death's list. And that means it's Wendy's turn to be a target. And look who's walking up to them, Ian McKinley. McKinley, as in the clue from her picture. Kevin makes a Cartarian suggestion to him.
Get the fuck out of here, McKinley!
But unlike Alex and Clear, McKinley's not going gentle into that good night. He stalks towards them and blames Wendy for Erin's death, all while the town's entire discretionary budget continues to explode in the sky. After a cocky proclamation that he's never gonna die, McKinley narrowly misses a bunch of fireworks that go off at him, but he's unable to avoid a cherry picker that falls on him and smashes him in half for a fucking brutal kill. McKinley's death was originally not as graphic, and was also pretty much the end of the movie. But when they went back to reshoot a new ending, they also took the opportunity to add some more gore here. So actor Chris Lemche donned a pair of green screen pants to help give his kill just a little more oomph. Mission accomplished. Now, if you're like me, you may be wondering how Ian McKinley wound up back on top of the list again, even though it was supposed to be Wendy's turn now. Best I could learn from the internet is that Wendy Wendy was wrong when she assumed Ian was the McKinley clue from her picture. After all, had she not intervened earlier, he wouldn't even be alive to kill her. Instead, the McKinley sign that killed Ian was supposed to kill her, but he inadvertently intervened, moving her out of that spot, and it caused death to skip her, I guess. I think all of that is confusing and dumb, but so is most of this series. They're just making these movies to kill people, man. Like I mentioned, the movie originally ended right there, but after poor reactions from test screen audiences, they filmed a new ending 5 months after principal photography had wrapped. It takes place, appropriately, 5 months later, when Wendy is a college student with college friends riding on the subway to meet their college ends. She starts getting the willies, which only willify more after she notices a big old 180 in a reflection through the window. Spooky! She starts seeing ominous poster clues everywhere, and even hears a devilish voice coming through the subway speakers.
The next stop is the end of the line.
Then, all of a sudden, Julie appears and gets on the train too. And hey, what do you know? Kevin's here as well. This kind of coincidence can only mean bad news. And sure enough, thanks to a hungry rat, shit starts going motherfucking haywire again. Light warning for photosensitive viewers, I'll play this tone when it's safe to watch again. Because the second catastrophe in this 2-for-1 disaster deal we've got going is a flashy, screechy kill fest that sees Julie get taken out by some airborne metal and Kevin sucked out a window to a splattery death. To film this crash, which is kinda hard to see through the editing, they used miniature trains that they freaking slingshotted down a track. How fun is that? I'm always a fan of using miniatures in movies. When the subway trains finally come to a complete stop and the flashing lights end, Wendy is left the sole survivor surveying a service tunnel of death. Then she turns around to face another train coming down the track, which sends her screaming straight back out her eyeball. Whoa, secret iris subway. Yep, that was just another premonition. They're all still alive. And before we wrap this up, I've got to shout out Mary Elizabeth Winstead's devotion to acting in this movie. In all the behind the scenes stuff I watched, she seemed very earnest and serious about the craft. And her talent actually sort of backfired while they were shooting this new ending. After she spontaneously shed a tear during a faulty first take, James Wong decided that he really wanted another one for this shot.
I'm waiting for a tear.
But due to a change in the shooting schedule, she hadn't even prepared for this scene. And with the pressure on and everybody watching, it was hard for her to produce another tear on cue.
I'm sorry, I don't think it's gonna work. You guys, I'm sorry, it's just...
Okay.
Eventually, after 14 takes, she was able to make it happen, resulting in that very good-looking shot. Yes. Kevin realizes what Wendy's tear means, and he tries to pull the emergency cord, but it's too late. The movie cuts to black, and we hear crashing sounds.
Damn. Well,
now this presented a real dilemma for me. I was going to just not count these kills, since we never get an official tally of the victims, and because it technically happens after the movie ends. But the more I thought about it, the more guilty I felt ignoring them. After all, these people seem pretty damn trapped on the subway train, so the accident is almost certainly going to take place. And, thanks to the premonition, which are always shown to come true, we do get visuals on at least some of the people killed here. And so, my decision is to just trust that Wendy's premonition actually takes place, and then, since I don't have an exact number given to me, just fucking purge it up and count all the bodies I see. With that in mind, the last kills of the movie begin with Julie, who, as we saw, got sideswiped by a flying metal wheel. Yep, sorry Wendy, it's rough. Then, again, as noted, Kevin is turned into strawberry shortcake between the subway cart and the wall. Yummy! After the subway crashes, I count a total of 12 more bodies, and allow me to break those down for you, please. 3 are lying in the foreground right here, and what's funny is that if you brighten up a later shot of them, you'll see 2 of them moving. Not sure if that's bad background acting, or if they haven't quite died yet, but let's put them on the list anyway, they're pretty fucked. One lady's hanging out a broken window there, that's gotta hurt, and a peek inside a subway cart shows us the bodies of Wendy's college friends Laura and Sean. Finally, a sweeping overhead shot that I also had to brighten up shows 6 additional bodies lying around. Great! All that leaves is Wendy, and since I'm trying to be internally consistent with these movies, I'm gonna count her death as well. Hit by a train in the subway tunnel. Man, what an endie for Wendy. How many kills was Death able to collect this time through, whether they were late or right on time? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
Oh, James. America! Fuck! Oh, no.
Fuck!
Fuck!
29 people died in Final Destination 3, and thanks to
actually, just to
numbers.
Hold on.
Whether they were late or right on time.
Let me try
Let's
this.
find out and get to the numbers.
America! Fuck! I'm so sorry, James. Oh my god.
Yeah.
29 people died in Final Destination 3, and thanks to camera correction and frame-by-framing, I was able to discern that the victims included 15 men and 14 women, with both background kills and actual character kills pretty evenly divided. With a runtime of 93 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 3.21 minutes. Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill was a tough one to give out, but I'm gonna go with Aaron Ulmer's unfortunate adventure with a nail gun. I know lots of people love the tanning bed kills, and those are great too, but the jerky violence of that nail gun going off is a bit more impactful to me. Dual Machete for Lena's kill will go to the 7 roller coaster victims who flew off the rails. All the individual deaths in this movie were cool, so I think I've just gotta give this to those rail hopping kids. And for the Final Destination series, I'm giving out the Primo Premonition Award for the coolest death featured only in a vision. Honestly, not many options here, so I'll give it to Kevin, who's cut in half by a metal bar sticking out. And that's it. Final Destination 3 came out in 2000.
Honestly, I would have done the no, that doesn't count as a premonition because he counted it as though it happened. It was Kevin's death at the end of the film where he got grinded into strawberry paste.
Yeah.
6, and although I don't much care for it, it might be the most popular one among fans. That's fine, man, like what you want. Next week's sequel, though, is a movie that everyone collectively hates, so that's gonna be fun to talk about. Until then, I'm James.
So he said this movie was the most popular among fans?
In terms of like, I think it was, let's see, I think in terms of box office gross, let's take a look and see, hold on. Final Destination franchise. There we go. And let's see. Box office. Okay. In terms of box office, yes. Actually, oh no. Final Destination. The fourth one actually made more money than that's depressing. That's just depressing. Jesus. I'm depressed reading that. Damn. Actually, okay, critically, read this, dude. Check this out. Critically, the Final Destination movies 1 through 3, according to Metacritic, only got better, but Rotten Tomatoes 1 through 3, the second one is the highest rated one.
Their scores are not up to date. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
What does it say?
Final Destination 2 has 58% audience score, whereas Final Destination...
No, this is critic scores.
Oh. Yeah, I don't trust critics.
I hear it. Well, that's the only one I saw there. What is
68% audience score on the first one, 58 for 2.
What about 3?
And then 3 is 57. So technically, no, it's not got a higher audience score.
Maybe he's talking about just like the general fandom.
The Final Destination actually only has a 29% critic score and 35% audience score, so it's even worse than the third one.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people consider the fourth one to be the worst of the series.
Yeah.
The fifth one, however...
And 5 actually has a 62 from critics, but only a 52 from audience.
I disagree with the audience on that one. I think that one is the best one, in my personal opinion. IMHO. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just being honest here. Okay. Well, that's an interesting thing to read on. I mean, yeah, there we go. The Final Destination franchise.
Did we actually finish the video?
Yeah, we did. It's over.
Okay. Because I thought we paused while he was still saying something.
Yeah, he's just doing his outro bit.
Okay.
You know. But, yeah, I guess that's... the Final Destination movies, they're very much a sort of a... You could look at them as sort of a time capsule of the 2000s in terms of where the generic horror films existed. Whereas, let's see, Whereas I think the one of the 2010s, yeah, here we go. The one of the 2010s, even though it started earlier, the paranormal movies. The paranormal movies in the late 2000s into the 2010s, and before that, the Final Destination films, which I still think the fifth one's the best one. In my humble opinion, I think the fifth one is the best one. But we'll have to do we'll have to watch that movie and see what you think of it, and just see if you like it better than the previous ones you've watched.
Yeah.
But at least for me, I like the characters better, and I like how the story goes a lot better too. But yeah, that's just me though. As for James doing these kill counts, I'm glad that he went all the way through doing them, because I've seen some like some people not want to count the fourth and fifth ones, and they just want to pretend only 1 through 3 exist. And I'm like, you're kind of discounting the fifth one. I can understand leaving out 4 because universally, I think that one's the least liked amongst all Final Destination fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really just think that people, like, when people judge these films, they shouldn't take them that serious. I mean, I don't take them that serious, but what they do well, they actually do pretty well, and the kills in these films actually do really good. I mean, the first film just shocked me, especially with that with the bus kill. That one I was not expecting. Because all of a sudden, she's just staying there in the street and she just says, "Y'all can drop fucking dead." Pow! I was like, holy!
That is still not the most unexpected bus kill in a movie, by any means.
Huh?
That is still not the most unexpected bus... Well, it's not a kill, but not the most unexpected case of someone being hit by a bus in a movie, by any means.
Mean Girls?
Yep.
I knew you were going to say that. Regina George and Mean Girls.
Because it's not that kind of movie. And
it
it's
isn't.
Fucking out of nowhere. It's like, okay.
What? Is she dead? No.
It's fucking hilarious when that happens.
No, I get you. I get you 100%, and you're right. But Final Destination, I mean, they did that back in, was it 99? Or no, it was 2000. It was 2000 when that one came out. And yeah, I just thought that actually, you want to know something interesting about this film? When I watched it in theaters, I went and watched it with a predominantly black crowd, and the whole theater was chock full. And the splatter kills, all the gore and everything was just hilarious. And also the tanning bed one. The tanning bed one. There was a guy who yelled out something in the tanning bed scene. He said, "Man, I said them bitches were hot. I didn't mean that hot." Yeah, but yeah, it was hilarious watching it with a full crowd like that. But Jesus Christ, these movies, if they ever bring them back, actually someone said that they could pull it off a more modern Final Destination with like drones and modern day technology and shit like that. And they might be right. It could be done. You just got to do it right.
I mean, I know you like the fifth one, but in my opinion, I'd rather they not.
What?
Yeah, I said, I know you said you liked the fifth one, but in my opinion, I would rather they not.
What? Continue it?
Yeah.
No, I know. No, I agree.
I don't think they need to beat a dead horse any further with that. Just like Saw didn't need to beat the dead horse 8 movies in.
Well, truth is, give it enough time to where it's out of people's consciousness. Say, I don't know, let's wait 15 years after Final Destination 5 and be like, hey, should we give this another shot? Let's see where technology's at that point, or where the world's at that point, and let's just see what we can do.
Maybe.
I mean, you just got to give it enough time. That's like they were talking about earlier. They were talking about it's been 20 years since the Star Wars prequels came out. Disney is actually considering in about 5 more years remaking them and trying to do them better.
Good luck.
I think they could. I mean, there's parts of Phantom Menace that they have to include. The pod racing scene, that has to be included.
Darth
Maul, yes. The lightsaber fight scenes. Also having a very likable, but making the characters more likable, making getting rid of and completely redacting the midichlorian bullshit. I mean, there's a whole lot of improvements that they could do. And also fixing episode 2 to where it is not so boring. God, that movie was boring. I love the fight scenes in that, and I love the war scenes and the Colosseum scene with all the Jedi and their lightsabers and everything. I love that. But at the same time, it's just like, criminy. Could they have made that film any less boring? Anyway, talk about beating a dead horse. Here we are talking about the Star Wars prequels again. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. This was Final Destination 3 Kill Count by Dead Meat and Mr. James A. Janice. Hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you all will continue to tune in for these reactions whenever we do them. And if you want to see more from Dead Meat, the link to the original video is in the description down below. And if you want to see more from us, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, like the video if you like it. Oh, and just so we're clear, I'm going to like the Dead Meat video, and I'm also going to be leaving a comment in the video. And if you want to, leave, find our comment, or if you want to find our, comment or leave a comment of your own under ours, feel free to. And until next time, signing off. I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.